welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to be talking about bad study habits. So basically I'm going to be coming for everyone, including myself. These are habits that I'm sure each and every one of us have done at one point or another, and these are study setbacks. You may be scaling through while doing these things, but eventually it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. Okay, I'm going to be giving you guys 10 bad study habits that you need to quit and what you should do instead of indulging in these habits. The first study habit that you need to quit is studying in bed. I know it might be tempting to study in your bed. It's comfortable. You're like, oh my god, I'm so focused right now. There is no way I'm going to sleep off. There is no way I'm going to be distracted. But the fact is that your bed is a chill zone. Your bed is for sleeping. It's for relaxing. So subconsciously, once you're on the bed, your body is getting ready to unwind and relax. So if you carry your books and climb on the bed with the intention of studying, you're joking with yourself. It's not going to work. You're going to end up either falling asleep or getting distracted. Personally, I think you need a study table to study. If studying in the bed works for you, that's cool. That's amazing actually. But if you know you're deceiving yourself by studying in bed, don't stop, okay? Let's not deceive ourselves. The second study habit that you need to quit is not sleeping. I don't know why people think it's a thing of honor when you don't sleep. Like literally during exam period, people are like, I slept for just 2 hours, and then someone else comes and says, are you serious? I slept for just 30 minutes. I mean, I have done this several times, and thinking back, actually I did this on nights before my exams, and it was to like binge information that I have never done before. So that is terrible. So that was the only reason, and that's the only excuse. If let's say there are a couple of things you have not touched and it's the night of the exam, oh, I will not advise it. But if you think that's what it takes, I mean, I've done it before, I'm guilty, I will not do it. I'll try my best not to do it again. But just know that not sleeping is bad for your memory. Take your brain as a library, for example. In a library, you stack books on shelves. When you read, you're like throwing books into a library, and then when you sleep, that is when your brain picks up the books and arranges the books in sections, in categories. It classifies information. So when you do not sleep, your memory is going to be all jumbled. Like I said, I did it. Of course, like I remember things, but it took a lot to pick. Okay, this is this. Like, you don't need to do that, okay? Give your mind time to rest and organize itself by sleeping. Not sleeping is not a flex. The next bad study habit that you should quit is passive reading / rereading. Like when you're not supposed to read your books like a novel. You're supposed to challenge yourself, engage in activities. That's if you do want to remember. If you are reading something for, like if you're reading academic work, obviously we need to remember it in the long run during exams. So if you are reading for academic purposes, you should not passively read. You should not reread. Reread is going back to read what you read before for you to remember. I suggest not doing this. Instead of doing this, it would be better if you go back to something you forgot with question papers, so that, okay, question papers on this particular topic. So that if you see what is this, describe this, write an essay on this, you go back and refer to it with the question in mind. So it's like you're studying for something, like you have an aim. That way your brain is challenged, your brain is working, instead of just going back and reading the entire material. Also, talking of short term, a study technique that I adapt is that after reading, okay, while reading, I don't take notes anymore while reading, like long notes. I used to do that before. What I do now is that I make outlines. For example, let's say I'm reading food. I'm going to write definition of food, number 1, number 2, classes of food, number 3, nutritional roles of this type of food, number 4, nutritional disorders of this type of food. You get? So that when you finish reading, you go back to those points that you outlined and you try and recall what you need to know under that, or what it is that you read under that. You get? So active recall, you can decide to do it 2 hours after reading, a day after reading, 3 days after reading, so that you do not forget. Eventually you are going to forget, that's normal, but at least you will have something in your head, like you will forget every single thing. So this makes reading easier each time you go back to it. Another way of challenging your brain for activity in order to remember is that you can teach someone. You can take quizzes, like I said, answer questions. The process of studying is not complete without the bringing out part. You need to put information in and be able to bring it out later on. If you can't bring it out, you did not study. Number 4 here is waiting too long to start studying. When the school year starts, you keep procrastinating. I'm going to read next week. I'm going to read tomorrow. I'm going to read by 2. And you end up seeing yourself 3 weeks later, merely like a month to the exam, and you start having intense sessions. You're reading for 6 hours straight, you're reading for 8 hours straight, you're reading an entire day. Reading for 6 hours straight is not advisable. To avoid having these intense sessions where you're stressing yourself, you're stressing your brain, physically you're drained, mentally you're drained, you need to start studying on the first day of school, or the first week. After the first week, the second week is not too late. The third week is not too late. Never think it is too late to start studying, because when you think it is too late to start studying, that makes you relax and like, well, it's not like I can make a difference. But you can make a difference even if you start studying a minute earlier than you procrastinated to. So start studying today to avoid stress. Which brings me to the next bad study habit, which is not taking breaks. If you are reading and you are not taking breaks, honestly, you are wasting your time, because you're going to be distracted by all sorts of things. And at that point, you're no longer studying, you're just reading. And reading, you might as well just go and read a novel, because that is what you're doing. So you need to take breaks. Like I said, don't study for long hours on end. You can study 2 hours, take a 1 hour break. If you can go for 3 hours, take 1 hour 30 minutes break, or you can go as little as reading for 45 minutes, taking a 15-minute break, because when you do this, you are always at alert. Like imagine reading straight for 45 minutes, taking a 15-minute break. The shorter time it is, the easier it is to pay attention. And when you know that you're going to read for only 45 minutes, your attention is on what you are reading, because you're looking forward to those 15 minutes where you're going to use your phone, where you're going to chat, where you're going to, have some free time. 45 minutes with 15-minute breaks, you can do that, and you can read for as long as you want. And let me tell you, that is going to be very, very, very effective. It's going to help your memory. It's going to help your understanding, your assimilation. Cramming is when you are studying to remember instead of studying to understand. In as much as you need to understand, you also need to remember what you're studying, right? But the problem comes where once you pick up your book, you're reading the lines, and your aim is to remember all the lines that you're reading. That is cramming. Cramming is going to fail you when you need to retrieve the information. It's going to be all jumbled up. You are not going to know how to connect the dots. You're just going to have the phrases and the words in your mind. I know, because like I said, I'm guilty of some of these. I think you might be tempted to cram when you have a little short period of time to prepare for a test or an exam, but why cram when you can understand, then cram? Do you see where I'm going? I'm not saying you should cram, but I'm just saying when you understand, you can now decide to quiz yourself and explain phenomenons, explain what you read in your own words. Then if you feel like you want to give the lecturer or the teacher or your whatever, you want to give the person the information back, and you feel like your brain can handle that, then yeah, I mean, not a lot of people can handle cramming and understanding. So I don't know, you can do your thing. Having no to-do list, having no study plan, having no idea on what you want to study. If you don't have a to-do list, you are not going to be organized, especially a situation where you have a lot of things you want to do in one day. The way we work, unless you are very, very productive and programmed to always be motivated, when you have a to-do list, you're going to keep pushing studying back, and you keep telling yourself, oh, if worst comes to worst, I can study in the night, I can study at 8 p.m. See, it doesn't work that way. In the end, you're going to be so exhausted from every other thing that you did, and you end up going to bed without studying. So make sure that you have a to-do list, and write your to-do list in the order of when, like, what comes afterwards. Like, you can decide to study first, because when you study first, like in the morning, let's say 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or thereabouts, at least you know that you've studied for that day. And if worst comes to worst and you don't have time again, at least you put in 2 hours that day, and have a study plan. Map out how long you're going to study, what you're going to study, and make sure that before you sit down to study, you have a separate time where you decide where you're going to study, so that when you sit down to study, you don't end up spending like 30 minutes deciding what you want to read for that day. Multitasking is how do you expect to be doing different things at the same time, studying included, and you expect that you are understanding and getting what you're studying. Like, it doesn't work that way. When you're multitasking, what you're actually doing is switching between different tasks very fast. So you think you're multitasking, but in all actuality, you are just doing this, okay, then doing this, then doing this, and you are not going to assimilate anything that way. You're probably reading, thinking and studying, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to recall what you read, or even if you do, the information is going to be very volatile. I suggest not studying in front of a TV or having music in the background, especially music that is not like lo-fi. Like, if it's the music that has lyrics, it's definitely going to be distracting. Do not multitask, okay? It is a bad study habit. It is a delusion. Number 9 is having your phone closed. I know it can be so tempting to use your phone. You know, sometimes when I'm reading and I realize I keep switching between my books and my phone, I get so fed up. I just throw my phone under my pillow or something. I'm like, okay, for the next like 2 hours, no phone. Let's just focus. At least if we're getting distracted, let's not be phone, because phone distractions take nothing less than 30 minutes. Keep your phone away from you. You can set a timer that's going to ring out when you are done studying. If you're using if your phone is what your only source of time, you can, just make sure that before you read, you settle everything it is in your phone that you think is going to distract you. If there's something bothering you, settle it before you start reading, so you don't end up spending 1 hour out of 2 hours thinking about that thing that's disturbing you, because that's just a waste of your time. The last bad study habit, which is very, very detrimental, is doing group study before your personal study. I know group study is very helpful. In all seriousness, group study is one of the very active ways to recall, to exercise, to challenge your brain. Group study, group discussions. But I urge you to not rely on group study and group discussions, because you are there discussing and studying with other people, and they probably have read that thing before. And I'm sure that there are some in the group that don't care whether or not they get something that day, because they've read it, they understand it, and what they're there for that day is probably to teach the group or to discuss about it. So before you start doing group study, or before you do a particular topic in your group study, make sure that you have seen that topic. Make sure you have glossed over it. Even if you've not read it. Make sure you know the points, okay? Don't come there empty-headed. If you go with a blank mind, any information you get at that point is going to be fresh information about that thing. So you're going to assimilate it. Information from someone else that is not your textbook, that is not your material. So it's probably going to stick with you, because that is the first thing you know about that thing. And if that thing is wrong and you end up not finding out that it's wrong, then or it sets up a notion in your mind that becomes difficult to deal with later, because now conflicted. Is it this? Was this person wrong? Was this person right? So make sure you do your own research, do your own personal study before you go for group discussions and group study, because in the end, you're on your own. Okay, we have reached the end of this video. If you reached this far, if you got this far, let me know in the comments which study habits, other bad study habits that you know of, or any good study tips that you'd like to give anyone else in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel down below. Click on the red thing that says subscribe. Like this video, comment, share to your friends. Bye. What is your favorite season of you?